Testing, testing, testing.
1 2 1 2.
We should be live now. Let's see here. Where was it at? Okay.
Yeah, we're here.
You see it up?
You see it up.
Testing, testing, testing.
I think he's going to do a good job
We're gonna keep
at Colorado
talking
because
while
I
we're
think that
going
he's
here.
a great coach. He's a great recruiter. He's a
keep talking
magnetic
while we're going
force
here.
for young men to want to come play for him.
Then we're gonna see if the audio is doubling here. Echo. It's not,
Let me just say this.
there.
I think
There it
Deion
is.
Sanders
Okay.
is independent of fit. I
What
think
are we
Deion
doing?
is like the sun. Everything revolves around him. This guy is the magnet. It doesn't matter where a recruit's from. They're going to answer his DM.
What it is, the TV is an output too. You gotta remember that. So I think video source or whatever is trying to utilize the TV as an output.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, I think,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
that does.
Because like now you're talking over the video too, and both mics are crystal clear. That's because you're only using that as the audio source.
Gotcha.
Touchdown for Ann, man.
There it is. Touchdown and an extra point.
Roll yourself a fat one, man. You deserved it. You've earned it. You've earned it.
Not like all those other. not like all those other days you roll one.
My fucking son robbed me on my way here.
Goddamn.
Oh, man.
That's tough.
It is. Life's tough.
Keep your friends close and your enemies close. We have a thief in the house.
Nah, he didn't steal it. He hit me at the gas station. Hey, yo, Dad. I'm like, I'm not going back to the house.
Being that I'm here right now, I'ma go and get it right now, get committed right now. I'ma do some shit that's gonna uplift a bunch of people's spirit right now, help them heal it right now. I'ma get them riches right now. Work plan, manifest, be speak that shit into existence right now. Can't slow down, got the vision wrote down, cause I seen it, man, I'm on right now. Focus in the motherfuckers where I'm in the zone right now. Ain't no later, dog, it's only right now.
And it's only right now.
It creates.
Right now.
No past, no future right now. All I got is right now. No past, no future right now. All I got is right now. Fuck what they did to me, gon' do, cause all I get is right now. Fuck what they did to me, gon' do, cause all I get is right now. So I focus on that when I can focus on now. Pull up at a beach on the outskirts of town. Enjoy the view and give thanks to the truth. And I go hit the yo just to shut that bitch down.
And I'm high right now. So alive right now. Clear skies right now. Living my life by my own rules. I feel what I choose.
Doing now. Gonna take some words, okay? And I'm right back at it. Divine alignment, fully automatic. I don't think about it. I just watch it happen. I just move toward it and I get supported. When I try to force it, it just get distorted. So I dance with it. Crystals all in my pants with it. Healing all in my hands with it. I'm an alchemist. I'm a master. I'm a rabbi. I'm a sensei. I'm a bad guy. I'm an alien. I'm an animal. I'm a cannibal. I'm so handsome, no. Yo.
And I'm high right now. Can barely open my eyes right now.
And that money we making it. Climbing these ladders and laying foundations, that's masonry. This shit is different, cause my dreams are literally chasing me. Grateful for where life is taking me. I'm living life, that's to say the least. Only true beauty can tame the beast. Only true love can tame that beast.
Are you here with me right now? Right now. Vibe with me. Vibe with me right now. Right now, yeah.
You guys are back on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink. And we have another good show for you guys, if I say so myself. Alrighty here.
We say that every week, but we do deliver.
I like to think we deliver.
Like the mailman.
Yeah.
Not to the underage girls like he did. It's barely legal, but legal. Were you a big fan of Barely Legal, the magazine?
I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
I'm not aware of it too much. It's faintly in the back of my mind here.
It was one of those just, classic porn mags.
I think I missed that era, but I would have been a porn magazine guy.
Yeah.
I think I would have.
When I was in high school, we had a mall in my hometown.
Yeah.
And they had like a kind of a magazine stand in the middle of the food court with the porno mags.
Oh, man.
And back in those days, I had the audacity to just like look at porn mags
right
in the food court.
Public in front of everyone.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Wild times.
Wild times.
God bless Pornhub, man. Discretion, man. Get a little bit of discretion.
Don't you guys forget, On the Bench podcast is available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We're going to be talking some Deion Sanders today. Sellout, fallout here. You got to finish the sentence. The sellout, fallout, right? So you got people, and you got that discussion. We're going to round that out, and then we're going to talk about where Jackson State HBCUs go from there. We're going to talk about Burrow, Mahomes. Is there
the budding rivalry? Oh, there is. For sure. Yeah,
and then we're going to talk about also some other notes and nuggets here, like OBJ and Lakers, T.I., all of that stuff, man, because here on the bench, it's home of sports, music, and mayhem. All right, where we talk all trending topics in sports, music, and entertainment. All right, even life stuff here, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to kick off the show with a little bit of that, man.
Really? Okay.
I
hope I'm ready.
It's not that deep.
Okay.
What's funny is that one of those old adages is just you really never know what someone is going through, right? A lot of times you wait until like somebody like hits you up and stuff like that. Man, I'm not gonna, like this person never calls me, never hits me up. I'm not gonna. I've contacted that person for the last 3, 4, 5 times. They have to contact me first. Now we're just never gonna talk again. And sometimes you have that, and you go through that, or in your mind, it's just something like we conditioned to do, and all that, all while you have literally no idea that this person could be going through all type of personal stuff. Health issues, family issues, things like that that's really dire to them. And this whole time you're holding back, then sometimes in some cases, the next thing you know is rest in peace to this ex person on social media, and now you're feeling extra bad. And sometimes it doesn't get that far, but just to say, man, you really never know.
Right. Now you don't. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of ways to read that. I mean, for myself, a lot of times you just, I kind of take the mentality of like, nobody really fucking cares, like what you're going through. You look at it, it's like somebody might sympathize with you or whatever, but I feel most problems I've put myself in or had to deal with, at the end of the day, I just got to get through it myself. I'm not a prayer guy. I'm not whatever. I just have to get up and keep moving forward. And I'll generally won't necessarily talk about it to a lot of people. And you try to, when you are interacting with people, you'll kind of talk about other stuff that's not the heart of the matter, And, it's complicated. Everybody's going to deal with things their own way. But I think when you're talking, like, types of the communications you have, it's like, you reach out to somebody a few times and you don't feel like there's any energy coming back to you. It's like, all right, well, why am I making an effort to try and connect with this person?
Yeah.
And it's a fair question. We all have... There's an economic cost to everything we do, and if you're spending time with somebody, if you're trying to coordinate something with somebody and they're not responsive, like that's your time. You can do something else with somebody else.
Yeah.
And then like you said though, when it goes to a dark place, you feel bad about it. But I don't know. It's not something I've ever felt too badly about. I just feel that there's that you have. Kind of like cycles in life. You can be close to people at different points and you're going to move apart. And in some ways it's okay. I don't look at it like I've never been a person like, I've got to stay connected to these, 4 best friends from kindergarten.
Yeah.
It's like we have different lives, we've all taken different journeys and gotten to different places. And, I tend to, in totality, I look at the relationships that I've built along the way. and value those. I might not. I didn't know you when I was 5. You weren't alive. But as we sit here today, you're an important person to me. And that's valuable. So I don't know. It's a funky thing. But again, if something goes wrong with somebody and they're really having a hard time, then you are gonna probably feel some kind of way about it. Like, is there something I could have done? Is there something I could have said? But there's another adage, like, when the pupil is ready, the teacher appears. And that's always stayed with me. And it's not just in terms of education. It's just in terms of kind of like life. Like, when you're ready for something, the right person's probably going to appear for that. And you can't force it on them. Like, they'll probably withdraw further from you if they're in a place where they just don't want what you're offering, whether it be friendship or, whatever, an opportunity to do something. You can't drill that into a person. They'll just resent you for it. They'll withdraw and they'll pull back.
No, I fully understand what you're saying, and you're making me feel better about not feeling
That's my goal, my
bad
friend.
about that. But at the same time, because a lot of times, and maybe you value a relationship more than that person does, or value a friendship more than that person does, but still you value it. You know what I'm saying? So it's I don't know. It's just I guess it's a gray area, and some friendships, it goes like that, man. Sometimes it is that person reaching out to that person every time, and that's how you guys communicate,
right?
And I don't know. Some people just take that seriously, man. Like, man, I'm just not reaching out to this person anymore, right? Because I always have to call first, or I always have to text first.
Yeah.
But I just, it's just one of those things where I don't know. I just felt like it had to be something just to be thrown out there and mentioned.
Yeah.
Not that
and different relationships are, they do have a different nature. I mean, there's probably people that I reach out to more than they reach out to me, and it's just for whatever reason I feel like a supportive or connected role to them.
Yeah.
And maybe trying to maybe mentor them in a way or whatever, and you're just trying to check, are they good?
Yeah.
Where are they with things? But then you also have the other thing though, where it's like there's somebody you haven't really communicated with in a while, and like then just something like happens and it makes you think of that person. It's like, oh wait, let me see what's up with them.
Right.
And that's another kind of way that it goes about. You'll be somewhere. It's I remember doing this with whatever. Yeah. But it is interesting. Friendship, I mean, true friendship takes a lot of effort.
Yeah. I
mean, we talk about in the context of like relationships with women or whatever, but just any friendship does take a lot of effort. Do you remember the writer Frank DeFord? Have you ever heard of that guy?
No.
He was like a big-time writer back in like the 60s, 70s and such. And he wrote a bunch of stuff with Bill Russell, the Celtics great. And they were together like talking and doing kind of an interview. And Frank made some comment to the effect of, oh, Bill, I feel like we're actually becoming friends. And Bill Russell's like, we're not friends. And the guy was kind of caught off guard. He's like, is he being a dick or not? And he kind of went on to elaborate. He said, friendship takes mutual, consistent effort over time, and that's not what we are to each other.
Right.
And we're kind of associates or whatever, but we're not friends because we don't, connect with each other that consistently, that deeply. And I mean, it's kind of insightful. It makes you think like, what is a friend? What is an acquaintance? And all these sort of different levels of people that are in your life.
No, that's true. That's true.
I think coworkers are interesting because like when you're particularly in an office setting, when you go and you have coworkers and you see them like 5 days a week and you're there all that time, you do get close.
You do, and you do all of these after work stuff, and
right.
and you get caught up in children and their personal lives and things like that. Yeah.
But then when one of you leave, it drops off quick.
It drops off very
quick. There might be a couple that'll reach out for a little while, and then at the end of the day, you're not that connected. And I've kind of just grown to be okay. That's okay. I'm not gonna be offended that I don't talk to this person that much anymore. If I run into him, I'll be happy to see him. That's cool. Catch up a bit. But like that thing when you go from seeing somebody like literally like 40 hours a week or more, and then you're not seeing them, and then you kind of got to fit them into the rest of your life. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, that's good stuff about that, my man.
Yeah.
you guys don't forget about overkink.com, our very first sponsor here. Overkink.com. Use promo code bubbapink, and you can get a discount on all, and I do mean all of your bedroom needs, whatever you're into. Once again, that is overkink.com, promo code bubbapink.
I didn't go with the selected toy today.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah. We just want you to stay kinky at all costs.
That's it. That's it, my man. Let's move in here to the one of the most trending topics in the land of sports and entertainment today, which is Deion Sanders taking a job over at Colorado there. This is a hype video that they made.
Do a good job at Colorado because I think that he's a great coach. He's a great recruiter. He's a magnetic force for young men to want to come play for him.
Let me just say this. I think Deion Sanders is independent of fit. I think Deion is like the sun. Everything revolves around him. This guy is the magnet. It doesn't matter where a recruit's from. They're going to answer his DM.
Deion is a guy whose resume can make him say whatever he wants, and people are going to instantly respect it. Great hire for Colorado.
And now that I've gotten here and I see it, I truly understand what you want. All you want is an opportunity to win, to compete, to dominate, to be amongst the elite, to be amongst the best. And darn it, I'm going to give you that.
That was pretty good, right?
That was very good.
Yeah, it was.
Who was the original narrator? Did you know? The first segment?
Oh, the very first? I don't know.
I
don't know.
was curious.
But after that is different analysts and
Yeah.
college football guys that are from, they just took different clips there of them talking about Deion there. And, of course, Deion left Jackson State University, HBCU, to go over and take the Colorado job. And, man, it got social media into a frenzy.
Indeed it did.
And it's still going, especially on national networks there. And there's different layers. I want to talk. We're going to talk later in the show about, where can Jackson State HBCU football go from here. But for right now, I kind of wanted to talk about, and also we'll talk about Colorado and their chances and stuff like that. But for right now, I wanted to talk about the aspect of, is Deion a sellout for taking this job? And since then, man, there's been some African American analysts to step up to the plate, man, and kind of speak their mind, but not trash Deion at the same time. But for example, Bomani Jones, a guy that I follow and I've been listening to and looking at for years, basically his comment was, Deion sold us a dream and Witten did the opposite, or something along those lines. You got Jason Whitlock, who I don't follow, but he
thankfully,
yeah, but he came out and he was saying how, basically, yeah, same thing. Deion was selling us a bill of goods, and then the very first opportunity that he had to go to the white man, those are words that he's using now, that Deion went and basically was proving or saying that something about the ice, the ice is colder here than it is there. The ice is colder at Colorado than it is at Jackson State. And he just made different type of comments along those lines. So there have been people that are coming out and making firm statements on this. And a lot of the social media is actually taking Deion Sanders' side, and saying, hey, Deion is he had every right because it's you'll leave for a big check as well. He did all he could do for Jackson State. He was spending some of his own money at Jackson State. He propelled them in HBCU football. He done all that he had to do there, and now it was time to move on.
Yeah. There's just so many layers to it. I think that there was a part of him at Jackson State where he sort of embraced the role of a culture change. And I think, and the one thing that I stood out, when Travis Hunter committed to Jackson State, he did it. And his little, explain my decision post was very much in the lane of he was kind of following Deion to do something special, to build HBCUs up, to push them to another level, and to make it a viable option for 4- and 5-star guys,
Right.
to go play their football there, make the league, and kind of change. I kind of accepted that to a degree, as well as kind of his mission. But, I will be honest to say that, and we've talked about on this show, that there is no elevation if it's just Jackson State and it's just Deion. And if he builds a program of heavily recruited, talented guys and cuts through the SWAC like a hot knife through butter, there's no competition there. There's no elevation of HBCU football. There's one outlier school coached by Deion that has a better level of talent than the rest of the SWAC or HBCUs in general. And that's not compelling. That's not good. I mean, quite literally, it's not good for the kids on the team. They need better competition to develop. You don't get great by playing, 9 45-10 games and maybe 2 or 3 close ones.
Yeah. And remember, I did push back on that as far as that. But also just hearing you say that again, yeah, but that's why we also say that he left before he could make a real impact. Yeah. Because the next step was to schedule better opponents.
Yeah. And there's a part of this that, when he was there, possibilities opened up. You're like, how good could you get at an HBCU? And that was compelling. That was an attractive story. And he made comments to suggest, I'm not there in the trenches yet, but the implication is maybe I can get there. And maybe we could play some Power 5 schools and shake things up. He wanted to go to a bowl game and things like that. Now, there's 2 ways to look at it. Is that he kind of jumped into this mission, and then at the first sign of bigger money, runs and goes to that. The other thing is maybe while we're looking at this and watching him and wondering how powerful this could be, he's going through it, realizing its limitations, and realizing I'm never going to get where I want to go in this situation. Whether it's the coaching salaries, the program funding, the logistics of getting bigger teams to play you, of convincing, interior trench guys to come and play at Jackson State. There's a whole myriad of things that he was probably experiencing firsthand that were probably suggesting to him, we ain't going to get where I want to go. This just is not going to happen.
And that could be. That's a valuable option that we don't know whether it's true or not. Yeah. But I would push back and say I just don't think that's the case. He had a top 50 offensive lineman that was already committed to coming to Jackson State, and now, of course, he switched the commitment. He's going to go to Colorado now. He had more more fish on the line there, as far as that is concerned. And this is my whole thing. First of all, I it's just hard not to be a Deion Sanders, at least to root for him if you're not a fan. I remember him from back in the day, especially his NFL career, if anything. And I do want to see Deion Sanders. I want to see him do well at Colorado. But 2 things can be true. I do think that he misled people. He misled the HBCU community. That's just what he did, man. He came in, first of all, Deion wanted to be a coach when he was just training kids out at parks, okay? You remember that? He had his own thing and foundation and stuff, and his own program. And he was screaming out that he wanted to be a coach. No one would give him an opportunity, but he was looking at the Florida States. He's looking at other schools. He's also even, took a couple calls with NFL. Everyone wanted him to be like a defensive backs coach, or an assistant to the defensive backs coach. And Deion wanted a better chance, a better opportunity, bigger opportunity. He felt like his name, his knowledge, relegated for that. HBCU was the first and only opportunity that he had for a coaching position that he wanted. And when he came in and he took that, his main thing was, HBCUs, we're going to change the culture. We're going to change the game. All right. And then he started telling recruits that, hey, the same thing that you're going over there to Alabama for, You know, you can do that here. You know, you're going to get the same exposure. You're going to get the same coaching and teaching and all of that. You're going to get that here. Or you want some NIL money? I can work with you and get you some of that. You know, he was doing all of that on the back and on the name of HBCU. Like, he was tugging on it in every interview, every major spot. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
So now to just totally, you know, flip at like they said, man, the very first opportunity at PWI. That's you know, it's so much implication on it, man, that yes, what they have at the HBCU level is just not enough. Not even for a person that came in there to shift culture, so he says. It's not enough even for him. If it's not enough for him, then who the fuck is going to be enough for?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it goes way back to, of course, when all the top athletes were going to HBCUs, and the white colleges wanted to get better at football. And their main thing was, well, we need to pull some of these black kids out of these schools, you know what I mean, and bring them here so we can be as good as you know we want to be. So they started pulling these kids out, but they didn't pull the black coaches out. They didn't pull any of these black athletic trainers and the infrastructure. All they did was pull the players out. So, you know, but they didn't, you know, shoot HBCUs in their head and say you can't play football anymore. But when you take all the best players, what the fuck are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, exactly.
And so now they have a coach who they plop out and take out, but the coach who is, you know, trending and towards and was looking towards bringing a lot of more of that top black talent back down to HBCUs. No, we cannot have that. You know, we can't do that. We have to pull them out, and it fucking worked. And it's been working for the last 30, 40 years. And then, like I said, you know, you got the people on social media say, what was you doing? It's a $5 million check versus the $300,000 that he's getting or whatever. And yeah, man, I'm from Edenville, Florida. I'm going to take the fucking money too. Shame on me too. I'm not blaming Deion for taking the money. Do what you got to do for your finances and for your money. But don't tell us it's for something, like it's for another reason. Don't sit there and tell us I'm here to shift culture and to change the game at HBCU football. He literally told us that.
Yeah. Just say this is the first place to give me a head coaching job I want, and I'm going to do as well as I can so I can move on.
In so many words, that's other ways you can say that. You don't have to say it like that, but I mean, nobody else has to say anything. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, it's 1,000 black coaches in HBCU football. They don't have to make statements like that, but
right.
You know,
right.
I don't know. So that's my only thing I could see. I mean, I guess I'm a guy that sees both sides, because I do understand him taking a $5 million check, and of course, I'm sure it comes with all types of fucking bonuses, and maybe he can restructure after a year or two for even more money, depending on records. There's probably all types.
I don't know. I mean, I tend to not. I'm not a get the bag guy, and so I don't look at this necessarily as, you know, oh, just $5 million versus $300,000. I look at it as, and to me, I don't feel Colorado's a good job. They're 1-11. They're in a conference, the Pac-12, that's losing their best teams, highest profile teams, you know, and probably have a very slim chance of getting in the Final Four anytime in the future. But I'm sorry, but again, they changed the playoff format, so you're actually fine. You know, I mean, here's the deal. Deion, like most people, is self-interested. He's betting on himself. He bet on himself by turning down assistant jobs at the Power 5 level, you know, to be a head guy. He waited. Jackson State gave him the opportunity. He believed he'd do something special there, and he did. Now he goes to Colorado. It's not a power blue blood school. They haven't been good in 3 decades. And he's going there and hiring a 1-11 team on the pure belief that his buzz, his allure, his cachet is going to attract enough significant players that, you know, that he can have the type of team that can contend for titles. And again, I had to eat my own words, because the reality is the playoff format is expanding, and there's going to be better opportunities for Colorado to get in that 12-team playoff. And when you get in that 12-team playoff, and if you have a loaded roster, it's anybody's ball game. no matter no matter what.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
and guess what? He probably will.
yeah.
And it's not that those people in that camp, it's not that they don't believe that to be true. It's that they do believe that to be true. And that's the thing. It's just that I guess they can't comprehend why you can't do that over here if your goal is to do that over there. And then that's when we get down to, okay, resources is a big answer. And that to go along with, for me, like you said, for Deion, it's my earning and my paycheck, but also they giving me more room to play with, more room to get the assistant coaches around me that I want. I can pay them now. More room to have on the recruiting trail where I can allocate more dollars towards recruiting, towards facilities and things like that.
I mean, he is a complete anomaly right now. His brand is sort of unprecedented in college football.
Yeah.
I mean, there was talk of like 200 kids reached out to Colorado, wanting to play there.
Yeah.
I mean, he steps in and I guess there's a whole speech that I missed, but the part that was there was, he was like, hey, I'm coming here. I brought my own luggage. It's really good. And most of you guys need to get in the portal.
Yeah.
Like that type of honesty and direction is actually admirable.
Yeah.
And he probably knows, I'm bringing my son and I'm bringing Travis and a couple others, but there's a whole country of people now. They got a commitment from a 5-star guy at IMG, a receiver. And again, like, if he has the ability to pull the players that he appears to, like, you need to create space for those players in the 85. And you need to get some of these Colorado guys that are underperforming the hell off the roster. The hell off the scholarship count so that you can build that roster quickly. And the way the rules are with the portal and transferring and not waiting a year, the situation is ripe for a massive turnaround.
Yeah.
I mean, the more I thought about it, I think other bigger pedigreed schools are going to regret not going all in to get him.
I mean, it wasn't even all in. I mean, just go and get him.
Yeah.
You can literally tell. I mean, no one else made a effort to go do so. I mean, USF and Colorado,
Cincinnati apparently just 3.
Cincinnati, yeah.
Yeah, but no, like why? Yeah, why? I mean, why did Auburn not go there? They hired Hugh Freeze, and Hugh Freeze is a guy that, like, from a moral man of character standpoint, is a fucking turd. He's not a good person.
Right.
Like, he's just kind of a shitbird. Deion, stylistically, I don't know, maybe you don't like him, but I mean, he this is a guy that's never really been caught in any significant scandal of any kind. He's not a drinker. He's not a drug guy. He's a kind of a Bible thumping guy, and something, I mean, there's not a character flaw to say, God, we don't want this guy in our organization.
Right.
I mean, again, if you look at it from the perspective of race, there were probably schools that wouldn't even consider him because, he's black, because he is going to build a program, in a way consistent with his image.
Yeah. So at the end, man, I don't know. I can't go as far as to say he's a sellout. I can't go that far. But the word as I use is that he misled. He misled HBCU football community, and I don't know. That's tough.
It is tough, but I mean,
yeah. So
I mean, there's the notion of the elevate versus terminate, and it's like I mean, and I look at Willie Taggart. Like, he came in to FSU from Oregon, had a decent trajectory at every stop he'd been at. Kind of came in, talked a cool, fun game, and just fucking sucked balls. Yeah. And it didn't matter like what he said. I mean, he misled us. He told us we're gonna be good. We fucking suck. I mean, that's at the end of the day, coaches are measured by wins and losses. Yeah. And the reality is this, and it's in front of them. It's kind of exciting and the possibilities are there, but if he grinds out a couple 5 and 6, 5 and 7 seasons, he'll be gone. Yeah. I mean, and anybody would. I mean, the reality of sports, whether you're on the playing side or the coaching side, is they keep score. And if you win more than you lose, you're in good standing. You have options. If you lose more than you win, you're fired, you're cut, you're benched, whatever else happens, it's not going to work out well for you.
That's it. That's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Well, let's go here, man. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Alrighty here. You guys don't forget about our second sponsor here, Royal13thebrand.com. Once again, that is Royal13thebrand.com. Be fresh in the fall, heading into the winter. They have a lot of new products up. I need to get new pictures. But that is that.
You do.
Use promo code bubbapink, and you can be fresh heading into the winter. All right, man. We'll get back to some more Deion in Colorado and Jackson State a little later in the show. I wanted to talk a little bit about last week's game. And, of course, we had the Kansas City Chiefs and Cincinnati Bengals face off. The Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes is now 0-3, especially in this calendar year. They've even lost 3 games to the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. Can that be a rivalry when one hasn't won a game? And two, what do you make out of Burrow? Where do you place him? Things like that. I have an angle to take, but I'll let you go.
I'm very high on Joe Burrow. When he was at LSU that last year, I got Tom Brady vibes from him. Just a kind of a cool, composed guy that thrives in the competitive moment. And I hold him in very high regard. I think he's probably a top 5 or 6 quarterback. He got off to a little bit of a slow start. He's had, Jamar Chase was out for a bit. He's had to deal with a little adversity. But they've come out on the other side. They have a good record. They're set to go to the playoffs here. I absolutely think it's a rivalry. And the reason why it's a rivalry is because Pat is the top dog. And this guy has beaten him 3 times in a row. There's something to that, I mean, Pat was on the New Heights podcast a week or 2 before the game, and he talked about the game. It matters to him, and I'm damn sure it matters to him even more after losing the 3rd straight. He wants to beat them in the playoffs, and he wants to avenge the loss. And I think Burrow, and I do think it's that kind of that naked ambition that he has. It's like, yeah, I'm playing Pat Mahomes this week. I want to win this damn thing. And he's going to, as a competitor, I'm sure he's sitting there going, I'm 3-0 against that guy. And that matters. I absolutely think it's a rivalry. I think both teams are at a good level collectively. Both quarterbacks are, probably Mahomes is at his peak and Burrow's on the ascendancy. I think it's a great rivalry. I think it's great for football. But it does remind me of the story that I guess Shady McCoy was telling this week about Tom Brady and Drew Brees. And Tom Brady beat Drew Brees and the Saints in the playoffs in Drew Brees' last game. And there was like video after the game of them talking on the field, and then Brady throwing some footballs to Brees' kids.
Right.
Well, apparently went back into the Bucs locker room and was like, I beat that fucker and set him down. Which, that is such a true thing. Like, you can respect people, in their craft and as competitors, but if you're a competitor yourself, you just want to beat their ass.
Right.
And I think those 2 guys are absolute alpha dog competitors, and I think this 3-0 thing sits on both of their minds.
Yeah.
Burrow probably takes a lot of internal pride, more pride than he'd probably ever say in a press conference. And I think Pat looks at it like, I got to beat this fucking guy.
Right.
So that's absolutely a rivalry.
These are 2 top quarterbacks in NFL. And two of the top quarterbacks in the NFL is technically it's a rivalry, like you said, due to Pat Mahomes' success and his ranking, and because of Burrow's record against him. Here goes my thing, and it's been my thing for the past 4 or 5 seasons. I don't pay much attention to it. You have to wake me up when Burrow is not on his rookie deal. It is so significant. And, of course, and as I always say, no one's going to bring it up. But things will dramatically change. And it happens time and time time again. And what happens is we look at these quarterbacks, and when their production dips or when things happen and there's an adjustment, we look at the player and say, oh, geez, something must be wrong with the players when the wins stop. The Chiefs had a rough spot last season where we lost a few games in a row, and they were like, Pat Mahomes, something is happening with him. And I don't know if you remember that stretch.
Yeah, it seemed,
it was
the story was a lot of teams were probably playing some
figuring him
zone
out
stuff and not letting him throw down the field as much as he would like. And he threw some picks, and the notion was, oh, have they figured him out?
No, it was the first season that he was in his major contract deal. So what happens is you lose a lot of talent. You lose offensive line. You lose what? Especially because we still had Tyreek there, and he still he was played a big part on the team as far as roster salary is concerned. And you're trying to adjust to that, and we have a really great general manager, but it's just not a lot you can do. Joe Burrow is making $9 million a year right now. Next year, that's going to jump to a whopping $11 million. Like, there's just so much you can fucking do around that roster. Their defense is so much better than ours. The Bengals defense is so much better than the Kansas City Chiefs defense. They have a shit ton of more weapons. Their backup running back is just as good as our starting running back. You know what I mean? That guy has ran. He's totaled for a mass 200 yards for the past 3 weeks. P. Ryan, shout out to the Gators. And he's the backup running back. Mixon has been out.
Yeah.
He totaled almost 200 yards against the Chiefs. Backup running back. And he's been doing that for the past 3 to 4 weeks while Mixon has been out. Yeah. When you have a quarterback, man, on this max contract deal, you can't afford injuries. You can't afford missteps from your stars. I mean, Kelsey is the number one option for Mahomes. He fumbles late. It's hard to come around that. And all 3 losses from Kansas City Chiefs to the Bengals have come to one possession, down to the wire last possession of the game. That's what it's come down to.
Well, that aspect to me enhances the notion that there's a rivalry.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you look at close games, and especially with talented people, you're like, well, I mean, some of this has to break our way sometime. Now you're down 3. It's like you got to feel like the Chiefs are going to be poised to win a close game the next time around.
Right. But yeah, like I said, man, it's a rivalry. But wake me up when he gets his max contract. Wake me up when he doesn't have Jamar Chase and Higgins. When he just has Boyd out there with some 6th-round guys. You have to wake me up when they're not able to sign some of these top defensive guys, and then we'll see. But all of these guys, man, the Aaron Rodgers, a lot of these guys, I'm not gonna keep going on and on. We'll see what Buffalo does with Josh Allen. His contract kicked in this year, but they were able to keep some guys. But next year they're gonna have to let go quite a few of their top paid guys. But we'll see. But that's my take on it.
No, and it's a take we've talked about before. I mean, I personally I don't like it. Yeah. I hate when teams draft well, do a lot of good things, make great acquisitions, and they're just literally in a place where we financially can't keep this team together with the rules the league plays by. I think that's garbage. I think, I'd love to see some not necessarily do away with the cap, but kind of create some situations where, if you develop a guy, you can pay him more. Yeah. I would love to see that, because I hate to see good teams basically disassembled for financial reasons. Mm-hmm. You make a decision like, hey, this guy's in his 12th year. I'm not comfortable extending him for another 3 years, which is what he wants. We're going to part ways. I get it, even for a great player. The 49ers, historically, back with Bill Walsh, were great at that. They jettisoned, Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, Ronnie, all these guys at a certain point and just kept regenerating with new stars. But to be in a position where you just have to liquidate talent in their prime years, it's ridiculous. I mean, as much as Tyreek Hill's done this year for the Dolphins, I would prefer to see him on the Chiefs. I would prefer to see the Chiefs rewarded for having, found him, drafted him, bet on him, and developed him than the Dolphins to do that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Do you know what's funny about Joe Burrow? You know, I didn't know this, but Joe Burrow hasn't made a Pro Bowl yet. That seems a little odd. No, he hasn't made the Pro Bowl yet. Of course, he has the Super Bowl appearance there.
What? All right, so timeout. The rookie year, he tore his knee.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened? Like, wait, this is his third year or fourth year?
That's a great question. It's definitely one of the two.
Well, last year he takes his team to the Super Bowl. So, like,
Yeah.
did he not make it because he was busy playing the Super Bowl? Like, I mean, was that the reason? Was it more of a technicality?
That's another great question.
I don't know.
But I think don't they still give you I think they still give you the Pro Bowl nod even if you're in the Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah, I'm not sure. That you might
still
be right
get
on
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still get that.
Well, who was? Well, I guess you could say, was it Pat and Josh last year?
For sure. But then
mean,
it
how
has to
many
be
did they
one
pick?
more. I think it's
They
3.
go 3 deep. Okay.
Yeah.
Who got the nod over him in the third spot? Then that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I mean, from was it Justin Herbert?
Oh, that's a good question. Burrow's stellar 2021 season was good enough to earn comeback player of the year, but not enough for him to beat out Justin Herbert. So yeah, Herbert made it over.
That's just bad selecting. It is.
And Lamar.
I mean, Herbert did not make the playoffs.
Lamar was the other one.
Okay, so there's 4 total QBs.
Yeah.
And then Burrow was presumably 5th. Okay, that's tough.
AFC, man, they're loaded with in the quarterbacks.
Yeah,
They just
for
are.
sure.
Yeah, so it's going to be tough. Couldn't imagine him not making it this year. I mean, just the nod, versus, he may make it to the Super Bowl again.
It might be. I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, do you? I mean, if it's 3 quarterbacks, yes. But if it's 2, I mean, do you put him ahead of Mahomes and/or Allen?
No, he hasn't had that type of season this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he may not if it's only 2 spots. If there's a 3rd spot, he should get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a value. I mean, how do you get over those 2 guys? They're freaking really good. I mean, that's funny though.
No, it is.
Yeah, I would not have guessed that, but I don't pay attention to the damn Pro Bowl anyway.
Nah.
Ever since ESPN continued to air the Pro Bowl while Kobe's dead, like, that was the most ridiculous. I was so fucking furious.
Nobody cares anyway.
Yeah.
And they're changing it. They're changing it. They want to make it into a skills competition.
Well, the game has gotten so bad. I mean, it's like they're literally not tackling each other.
But do you think that will gain the
No. It's just not, I mean,
you have to get it's like you
football,
have to get the names.
Yeah. Football is football. It's just not like you and I can go play pickup basketball. I can show up on Thursday night and play soccer. We can't put on the pads and play football. Because football is unique in that. To play football, to put the pads on and play football is a unique and dangerous thing to do.
Yeah, but
and
I think
you can't do that half speed.
I think there is a fun element to the skills competition that can make it better than the Pro Bowl game.
Well, I mean, it could be
like
better.
If you get Tyreek Hill talking trash, like, "Hey, somebody come beat me," I think people will tune in and watch.
No,
Strongest
people
arm
tune in to watch, but you're not playing football. Like you're creating another.
It's another thing,
an event. It's not a game of football. It's not a Pro Bowl. And I just don't think you can do that, and it's been long overdue to be squashed.
Yeah.
And more power to them if they make a TV friendly, fun event that you get to kind of see another side of the players. That's great. I'm all for that. But to play a Pro Bowl game, it just does not work in football.
Yeah. So right now, at the top of your head here, and I can help you out here if you need some help, just looking at the teams. Burrow would stand what in your top quarterbacks here? You got Tua. You got over there in Buffalo. You got our guy Josh Allen. Mahomes. You got Herbert. You got Lamar. All right.
But for me, he's 3 behind Pat, Josh Allen. Then I would go Joe. Then I would go Lamar, Tua, and
hold on, because you're missing some guys now.
Who am I missing?
What do you put Jalen at in here?
I would put him behind those guys.
You would put him behind him?
Yeah.
Because you're not talking about this season. You're just talking about top quarterbacks.
No, I'm saying I'm more or less saying right now, this season.
Well, you can't be saying that because Jalen Hurts is having the best season.
I don't think he's having the best season.
Okay.
I still, I mean, if I'm
team's
telling you,
having the
if
best
I'm
season.
playing tomorrow, that's the order that I'm taking.
Yeah,
guys.
that's what I was trying to
I'm
get
saying.
you
So
to.
I'm comfortable taking Jalen Hurts 6th.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And Brady and Rodgers have not played at a good level, so they're way down the list for me.
Right.
But no, I really. And again, the first three guys, like I think they're just on a crazy tier. I think all three of those guys are almost like system proof.
Mm-hmm.
You could drop them in on any team and they're going to play at an extremely high level and make things work. I do think Lamar's a little unique, but I have great respect for what he does. But I think he has to play in a certain sort of system to maximize. I think Jalen Hurts is a little similar, and Tua is a little similar.
Yeah.
I think they those three, and that's why I kind of have two tiers: system proof and then system maximization guys.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're completely limited where they can't function, but I think all three of those guys in the 4, 5, and 6 are in a situation where they're in a great situation for what they do. Their coaches and complementary players understand what their strengths are and are playing beautifully to them, and that's why they're having the success they have.
Man, the playoffs are going to be good, man. I can't
hope
wait till
they
they get here.
I hope they are.
Yeah, for sure.
And fuck Justin Herbert. I mean, like again, it's one of these things. And prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, because it's we hear all about the talent and the arm and this and that,
Right.
and we don't hear about wins.
Yeah.
And that's what this is about, man. We just said it with Deion a couple minutes ago. The business is winning, and if you don't do that, you're not winning in the business.
Well, the thing is, does he have to take charge of his career? Which you don't see a lot in the NFL, because the Chargers, man, they year after year they have like a shit ton of injuries. They always have some weird,
like the worst
quirky,
training
bad.
staff in the
Yeah, they always have some weird, quirky coaching issues. You know, you remember that's the team where our guy, the quarterback that was there. That's how Herbert really got on the field. The trainer messed him up some kind of way. He
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, Tyrod Taylor.
Oh,
Remember
God.
that?
He's one of the most bad luck struck players
But-
in the history of football.
Right, but that happened with
Yeah.
the Chargers.
Yeah.
You know, and it's always something going over there. So, do you take charge of your career and force your way out of there? You know,
It's certainly something to consider. You know, again, I don't know what the problem is. I mean, they seem to have some decent offensive weapons.
yeah, but they're always out.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen misses like what 6-7 games a year.
Yeah.
And that seems
Yeah.
to be on the low side.
And I guess like defensively, you've got like
Oh, those guys
Derwin
and those
James
guys are hurt more than anything.
Bosa. I mean, maybe he just needs to demand they terminate everybody in the training staff and start from the ground up. And it's I mean, I remember in basketball for years, like the Phoenix training staff had this amazing reputation of just keeping like older players super healthy and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know how to evaluate that. I don't know the field that well.
Yeah.
But it is something that like there probably is a disparity between certain teams' training staffs and other teams. And when you're a player, like that can matter to your whole career, and it can matter to you directly. Like how are your injuries treated and dealt with, and then beyond that, like what's the injury rate of your teammates? You know, particularly
true.
those that really help. I mean, it's an interesting question. You're right. The Chargers seem to take a lot of key people miss a lot of time out there.
And Lamar is in a interesting situation there over in Baltimore because he's hurt. He's going to be out. They say anywhere between 1 and 3 to 4 weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
With the injury that he has, and the situation is, of course, he wants this new contract, and reportedly he wants a fully guaranteed contract that's a little bit more than Deshaun's deal, right? So, and that's a huge contract for an NFL team. They really don't want to issue that out. And Lamar had a hot start, then he kind of middled off there, and then he gets hurt, right? So here goes the thing. People are saying he should just sit out the rest of the season, nurse his injury, get back 100%. I don't know what that does for your contract.
No, I don't know how that helps you.
If you rush back, not even rush back. if it's 1 to 3 weeks, take the 3 weeks, and then presumably, the backup quarterback he's competent enough. You should be able to get to the playoffs.
Let's not lose sight of the fact that you're vying for guaranteed money.
Yeah.
And what you want to show and continue to show is that you are all in, face of the franchise, give me all the burdens, and I'm going to carry them. And here's the trick. Come back and play. Show that you're that guy. Get the guaranteed money, and then nothing matters after that. Because you got the money.
Because you got the bag.
Yeah. But if you dick around with this now and take the maximum time off or shut yourself down, to me, that raises questions. If I'm stroking that big guaranteed check, I'm like, hey, this is why, this is exactly why there were reservations about paying him at this level.
And what the people are saying, which I definitely don't agree with, what they're saying is Lamar has already done so much for this franchise, and if he sits out, he kind of has them by the balls because there's nothing else they can do. It's not like they're going to trade him. He's the franchise guy. But what I'm saying is I think Baltimore believes we can win with a competent guy here, play defense, run the ball. If Huntley, who is one of the better backup quarterbacks, he is a backup quarterback, but he's one of the better ones. What if Lamar sits out and Huntley survives this year? I mean, he plays okay.
Let's go to the.
And what's going to happen?
Cooper Rush in Dallas.
Cooper Rush in Dallas.
Like you begin. I mean, like again, when Cooper Rush was reeling off a series of victories, the question is, well, how important is Dak?
Yeah.
I mean, we're winning games without him, and we have these other pieces. We basically just need to play, league average football at the quarterback position, and we're good enough to win.
But the difference in those situations is Dak had already been paid,
right?
So it's not a lot you could do with Dak.
But that's why I'm saying what I'm saying about Lamar. The importance of playing and being all in takes that away.
Yeah.
If you shut yourself down and give them a glimpse of a guy that maybe strings together some nice sequence of play, it raises the question, how bad do we need Lamar? Do we need to guarantee all that money if he gets injured? And we've got this other guy, and we were 4-2 with him. We were whatever with Lamar. You start to think, and as a business person, as a money guy, you're like, is this a good investment?
Is it a good investment? That's what you want.
And again, in the context of what you discussed earlier, this whole thing of when these quarterbacks get the big deal, you have to jettison other pieces of the roster, and you're kind of cobbling together, a roster around this massive quarterback contract. And you could conclude that, hey, let's not do that. We'll offer him a fair deal, but we're not going to go over the top. And if he rejects it, we'll move on, and we'll continue to spend money on the rest of the roster.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not. I mean, keep in mind, they are not a step away from the Super Bowl.
Then
I
don't believe that, man.
Out.
Yeah.
You believe they're close to the Super
No,
Bowl?
I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
you.
So we're on the same page.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you can make Lamar. I'm a Lamar guy, man. I like Lamar. And disclosure, I like all black quarterbacks. to no fault, but
even Dak Prescott.
I fucks with Dak.
Okay.
Dak is okay.
All right.
But similar to Dak, I don't know how you can make Lamar the highest paid quarterback in the league. I don't know. I know it's next guy up, and when you hear people talking, and it's happened so much over the years to where it's just like that's fair.
Yeah.
That it's just he's the next guy up, so he should get this next huge contract and be the highest paid. Somewhere along the line, a team has to take a stance. If you know your guy, Lamar has proven he can't carry an offense without any weapon. He hasn't had any, huge, wide receiver help.
He hasn't
on the edges, and so you pay him that money, you're damn sure not gonna be able to bring one in.
Yeah,
exactly. You haven't been able to get one.
And there is an argument out there that what high-end receiver is saying, man, I want to go play with Lamar.
Matter of fact, he lost his only good one he's had in his career.
I forgot, and I was watching the Hard Knocks show that
Arizona.
him and Kyler played in college together.
Lamar and Kyler.
Marquise Brown.
Oh, Marquise Brown.
And Kyler Murray.
Oh,
played
so
together.
that's a
they're
piece
actually
to him
buddies.
to go in there.
Yeah, they were
Okay.
friends. I didn't realize that until I was watching Hard Knocks, but that's a little bit more. I was kind of taken aback because Lamar and Marquise, South Florida guys, I thought they got along, whatever. But if you play it back further, Kyler and Marquise had a relationship back in college. They were tight. It does make some sense.
These guys may need to reevaluate these college bonds. You got over there in the Raiders. You got
Well, wait. Before we move off the quarterback thing,
Yeah.
the last couple of guys that signed big deals were nowhere in our top 6, and that Kyler Murray, who I think they're already regretting paying that guy. He has not played well. The team hasn't played well.
Yeah.
He's come under criticism for not really being a team guy. And I'm watching Hard Knocks. I don't see it.
Yeah.
He is kind of a small personality, if you will.
Yeah.
He's a talented guy. We can see that, but he hasn't performed consistently, and he's not a guy that kind of elevates people, I don't think.
Exactly.
And then Deshaun was the other guy you mentioned who played one mediocre, crappy game after being suspended for 10 games.
Exactly.
And that's what fucks up the quarterback market. In some way, and I understand there's a price to be paid on the roster end, but pay Pat Mahomes whatever the hell you can. Pay Josh Allen that. These guys are doing it. When it's Joe's turn, I don't hesitate about paying him a lot.
Let me run it down. Let's just go top 6, whatever, highest paid quarterbacks really quick here this year. So number 1 is Aaron Rodgers. Not doing the best. Lost his number 1 overall receiving threat. That's hurting him.
And they've literally since early in his career, they've had unbalanced roster.
They really have.
And
either a really good defense or a really good offense.
Yeah, and they've he's gotten them in the playoffs more often than not, but the very few times have you ever felt in the playoffs that they're the team to beat.
No. Number 2, Russell Wilson. And we know how that's going. And
is anything going worse than that?
No, absolutely.
I mean, even we look at Deshaun, he's played only 1 game.
Yeah.
So maybe there's still hope he can get better.
Yeah, there's something in the tank.
Russell's played 10, 11 games, and they all suck.
And he just looks like it looks.
Horrible.
Yeah, he looks horrible, man.
Yeah.
Lamar goes out that last week, and he couldn't even. They only put up 9 points. The Denver Broncos. They lost by 1 point, 10-9.
How many
couldn't
times
put up more than 9.
Have they? My gut feeling, without looking at it, is that they have scored less than 17 points more than they scored more than 17
Yeah.
points.
And that's just not what they were looking to do when they brought in Russ.
But no, I mean, that's just not winning football. We're not in the 70s.
No. Number 3, Kyler Murray, who we just talked about.
Yeah.
Number 4, Deshaun Watson with the fully guaranteed. And we'll see how he bounces back. Number 5, Mahomes. We talked about him. And just to round it out, Josh Allen, number 6. Derek Carr, number 7. That's interesting. I forgot he signed that big deal.
I forgot what Dak Prescott hasn't surfaced yet. So we have on previous shows kind of said he was a top 5 paid guy, but I guess he's not.
Well, a lot of these guys just signed really new deals.
Right.
And then number 8 is Stafford, and 9 is Prescott.
Okay.
10 is golf.
Well, I would say
10 is golf. That's surprising to me.
Yeah, wow. I mean, to me, for various reasons, the top 4 guys have underperformed.
Yeah.
I mean, and then 5 and 6 should be 1 and 2. But yeah, that's crazy. I mean, but again, if you look at that statistically, who else was who was 7, 8, and 9 again?
So 7 was Derek Carr, right?
Yeah.
7 was Derek Carr, 8 was Stafford, and 9 was Prescott.
I mean, literally, of the top 9, only 2 are playing at the proper level.
Yeah.
For the money they're being paid. I'm not saying everyone's a complete disaster.
Right.
But the rest of those guys have been.
Oh, Allen and Mahomes. Yeah.
Yeah, Allen and Mahomes is it. Like the rest of those guys, for one reason or another, have been disappointing. I mean, Stafford won a Super Bowl last year, but he's been injured this year. Now he's basically out for the year. The team has played poorly while he was in there. Dak's Dak. I mean, nothing to blow your socks off. Jared Goff. I mean, I guess they're kind of turning the corner a little in Detroit, but nothing jumps out. You're 2 out of your 9 top paid guys are playing at the level. That's not good.
Yeah, and Washington has a nightmare too. Carson Wentz is number 12, and
He not even play.
Yeah, he lost his job. You can't like he lost his fucking job. That's a nightmare.
He's a fucking turd, man.
Yeah.
He's really a turd. And it shocks me that people keep thinking they're going to do something with him.
Right.
Like he went to Indianapolis last year, and then now Washington. It's just accept he's not good. He's not the answer.
I did not know Sam Darnold is still on a rookie deal. I feel like he's been in the league forever.
It does feel like he's been in the league for a while.
He's still on a rookie contract. But anyway.
They locked Sam down for a while.
Well, you got that franchise tag. I'm sure he's been tagged a couple of times. And I'm sure that's what Baltimore is looking to do with Lamar. Tag him a couple of times. And, yeah, we'll see, man. We'll definitely see. Where do I want to go next? Let's go to start the bench with Coach Pink here.
Sounds
man.
good. I'm ready to go.
Let's do that. All right. So starting bench with Coach Pink is where we give Pink 60 seconds to respond to some of the most trending topics in the world of sports, music, and entertainment here. All right. I have my timer ready.
Finally. Wow. Impressive.
The first topic I will give you is Boston Celtics. Start a bench.
Let's start the Celtics.
All righty here. So, of course, the Celtics is on a new coach, and they are playing great, man. As of right now, they're number one in the conference, and matter of fact, they're number one in the entire NBA as far as record-wise. Of course, they were a great team, made it to the championship last year with a different coach. And, of course, before that, Brad Stevens was labeled as a prodigy as a coach.
I'm a big Brad Stevens guy.
Yeah. So, is it the coaching? Are they getting lucky and just nabbing inheriting the best coach in the business every time? Or is it more the culture?
It's culture driven. It's the Celtics are culture driven. They've kept that critical core of Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Marcus Smart together for a long time. They've been through playoff battles. They've been through bringing different guys in like Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, and it hasn't worked out, and they've kept moving on. Al Horford's part of that core. That they are a triumph of culture. They have a great, core group of guys together that have been with each other for a while. They've all in various ways dealt with I think we might trade this guy or do that. And at the end of the day, I think it's probably 5-6 years now, you're still looking at the same guys. Yeah. They've made good off-season moves. They've good in-season trades. They take care of the roster. And again, Danny Ainge is a really great basketball mind. He brought in Brad. I think Brad is again a very good basketball mind, and I think they're not selecting idiots. They did a nice job with the Udoka hire. He fit.
He did. All righty here. What is that up top? Mike Tyson, start a bench.
Oh, got to figure out what Mike's up to.
So, Mike Tyson and Holyfield, of course, for our younger listeners here. Mike bit off Holyfield's ear in a boxing match.
At least a part of it.
And they have partnered together for a edible, marijuana edible, ear-shaped edible. They're partnering up, and they're going to be releasing this. It is called, what is it called? It had a unique name, Earbill or something. I'm looking for it. I do not find it. But what do you think about that there?
I'm not a weed guy, but more power to him. Mike's had that podcast, the Hot Box or whatever it is. I mean, he's clearly in that lane. Holyfield, I don't know what lane he's in these days, to be honest with you. But hey, why not? It's fun. It's good. I mean, weed's as hot as it gets, man.
Holyfield really wanted a like a rematch, not a rematch if you will, but one of those off schedule fights that they've been doing with these celebrities.
Oh yeah, like when
he
Tyson
wanted one with
fought
Tyson.
Roy Jones.
Yeah, he wanted
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm not big on those. I'm really not.
No.
I think they're just stupid.
I think I appreciate this a little more than that. So
yeah,
shout out to those guys there.
Yeah, well done. Sell weed together instead of fighting each other.
There you go.
while you're in your 50s.
Herschel Walker, start a bench.
That motherfucker. All right, go ahead.
So apparently Herschel Walker, I did not know this, but he has a son that is a part of the LGBT community, And he came out and was basically said that Donald Trump basically forced his dad to run. He said that Trump called his father day after day for months, demanding that he run, while everyone with a brain begged him not to because they knew what was in Herschel Walker's past. So
Right.
basically, the only reason why Herschel ran was because of Donald Trump. I thought you may have a little something to say about that there.
Yeah, it might take more than 60 seconds, but Herschel Walker, like Donald Trump, is completely mentally, emotionally unfit to serve public office. That's where this starts. The current iteration of the Republican Party has no problem offering these people up. And it predates Trump. It goes back to like Sarah Palin when they put her on the card with John McCain.
Yeah.
They just got some mildly attractive white chick who liked guns and thought that would be a good vice presidential candidate. She went to fucking community college. She was a blistering fucking idiot.
Shout out to
I mean,
Valencia.
it's insulting that the Republicans put these people up to do this because they're just not fit. And it's a saving grace that we're actually beating these people. Because, I mean, it'd be even worse if they actually won. I mean, we saw what it was with the fucking Trump.
Yeah.
This is a fucking disgrace. The guy clearly has CTE. He's not fit to do anything. And I'm not saying this to be funny. I mean, he could not string coherent sentences together.
Yeah.
He played professional football for many years. He got into MMA fighting for a period of time. He has CTE.
Yeah.
Hands down, no question. This is not somebody fit to serve in public office. And if you do this, and again, yeah, I mean, it's just this disingenuous horse shit of the Republican Party to try to somehow cater to black people and get that vote because they don't have it for the most part. And it's like, we'll just run up a celebrity black person regardless of how fit they are or what their ideology is. I mean, he's just a fucking puppet.
Yeah.
That's all he was. And what the Sun is saying is he was Trump's puppet.
That's basically what he's saying.
And that's it. I mean, how can you respect that? How can you appreciate that?
And it shows you how much of a post that the lack of a post that they have in a black community because Herschel Walker, we're not, he's not getting us to do anything. Like he's not, we're not checking up on Herschel. For anything.
But I think, if you break down the vote, I think Warnock got the majority of the black vote, men and women.
Anyhow, right?
It's like, all you're doing is just giving by Trump endorsing him. You're not connecting with black people. You're just basically getting a stamp of approval for racist white people to vote for our black guy.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's basically what you're doing.
That's that motherfucker in Kentucky with the Breonna. The girl that got killed in her apartment. Oh yeah. That motherfucker, the prosecutor guy. Same thing. He's just a black puppet for the Republicans.
Exactly. Giannis, start a bench.
Yo, that's my guy.
Yeah, no.
We're gonna get a little freaky on birthday.
No, not the freakiness. This is freakiness at the free throw line. So, it stems from the Orlando Magic game that I went to.
Yes.
But of course, he got nabbed with over 10 seconds at the line. They've been asking him about it, and he's shooting not a career low, but since his rookie year, he's shooting 60% from the line, and he's gotten nabbed for the 10 seconds a couple times this year already. And just that, they asked him, and they say, "Hey, I have a routine. If they call it, I give them the ball, and I go back the other way. I'm not arguing about it." But he says, "I do not plan to change my free throw routine there."
I'm usually a huge Giannis supporter. I don't like that. I don't like that mentality. I think that's a little bit of mental weakness, and he's usually so strong mentally. It's disappointing. But I get having a routine that is central to making free throws. But why on earth would you create a routine that puts you in jeopardy of a 10-second call?
Right.
Like you have 10 seconds. You know what the rule is. Don't flirt with it. It doesn't mean, it's not going to change. You're already shooting bad. Come up with a routine that's a little simpler. And I also think in terms of routines, the longer the routine is or the more stuff that have to happen, that's the more chance for something to go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think there's beauty in economy, and like, just keep it real simple.
Yeah, for sure. Baker Mayfield started bench.
I guess we'll start him like the Rams.
I know, right? So the Rams claim Baker Mayfield, who was just released by the Panthers, and they may be looking to start him Thursday night football. What is your take on that?
When was the last time anybody got claimed on waivers? I feel like 99% of all players clear waivers.
Yeah.
And so I was shocked he was claimed.
They may have thought the 49ers may
have made
take a look at him.
Yeah, I mean, and probably, I think the 49ers and the Rams weren't both in this similar situation. He probably would have cleared waivers like everybody else. But, I mean, I think you got to roll the dice. You're not going anywhere as the Rams. It's a low economic risk, and maybe you catch lightning in a bottle and get a couple of weeks of good football out of Baker Mayfield. I don't know. He's taken a horrible fall, though. I mean, he, when he first got the start in Cleveland, he reeled off some wins. They got in the playoffs. He looked the part. And I've always his story from going to walk-on to Heisman Trophy winner to top pick in the draft, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you've got to have some moxie or something inside you that's at least a little bit special. So I've always kind of respected him for that. But, he just hadn't played well in probably 2 full years. And, the Rams are going to try something. But when you're on waivers, your career as any starter is over.
Yes, for sure. Lil Boosie started bench.
Why not? What does he have to say?
I should have said Lil Boosie and Gabrielle Union. So Gabrielle Union in a recent
okay.
in a recent interview there that she had, they asked her about Lil Boosie and his comments about Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle's child, or maybe that's only Dwayne Wade's child. I'm not sure how that goes. But of course, Boosie had some comments to make. He was going at it with Lil Nas X at the time, and that's when they asked him about Dwayne Wade's child, and he was just going in about the LGBT community from a sense of that is a child. They're not supposed to be acting or feeling that way. It has to come from the parents. And he was saying how Dwayne Wade he take stuff in the booty and stuff like that. I'm just telling you what Lil Boosie was saying. And that's why his son came out to be that way. But afterwards, he did apologize. He said, hey, I should have just kept my comments to you. I should have left the child out of it because it is a child at the end of the day. That human being is a child. I apologize. And then they moved on. And this was I feel like this was like a year and a half ago or something.
I thought it was a couple years ago.
You know what I mean?
I thought when it was when the child was first, I think it was like
coming out or something.
First coming out.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah.
And then Gabrielle comes out and says, "Oh, well, Boosie, you must like penis or something like that." She was saying, and we're all here for you if that's what you like. Just go ahead and come out and say it. We know you like dick.
He had to defend himself on that. I actually thought she won the exchange. What he said again, he probably did go too far. You are talking about a kid, and he was trying to kind of poke fun at it. Wasn't there an interview though where Gabrielle kind of indicated that Dwayne Wade's into some ass play?
Yes.
Okay, so there is some substance to that. I don't know if you can make the connection that's why your son wants to reassign their sex. I don't know if that's a valid connection, but whatever. But I thought her thing was kind of funny and provocative, and it made him clear things up. I like her. I've always liked her. I think she's kind of spunky about stuff.
I love some Gabby, man.
All good fun. But I don't know. Have you ever heard that Dwayne Wade is into dudes though? I've not heard that.
I haven't heard anything good about Dwayne Wade. I'm not a Dwayne Wade guy. I'm really the last person you should ask on planet Earth about anything.
Well, no, I just say, have you actually heard anything about that? Because I haven't heard that.
My only thing about Gabrielle is it's just so late. It's so old.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
so old.
The fact that this
unless
is
you just
recycled,
unless you want to just keep this thing going, like it was behind everyone.
Yeah,
I don't know. That was my only thing. But if it was, more so in the moment or somewhat, it was a great comeback.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But again, we talk about this a lot. Like, she hadn't had a lot going on lately.
Nah.
Like, she had a little show a couple of years ago, and it's kind of died down. So, I mean, this is another way to get yourself back out there.
It is.
I swear to God, I wonder if there are calls or text messages in these situations that it's like, she's reaching out to, hey, Boosie, sorry I went at you, but, you know what's going on. And a lot of these beefs.
A lot of them,
Or, like,
I'm
do you
pretty
run
sure.
into some people, like, later that you were beefing with? And
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
hey, man, you know what was up. I got a project coming out. Like, I mean, it just feels like
It feels like yeah.
contrived, man.
Yeah, some of it is. T.I. started bench.
I like this one. This was fascinating.
It was. So T.I., of course, I don't want to say a history, but he has snitching allegations going back to when he was really in his prime, throughout his prime of a rapping career. And he actually did one of those Crime Stopper commercials, and a lot of other rappers that were beefing and going at him, they kind of used that against him and saying, hey. So in a recent video, he was saying how he once snitched on his dead cousin. He used his dead cousin and said, hey, that was him that did this X, Y, and Z. It wasn't me, when it really was him, whatever the case may be. So, I mean, go.
I'm going to go from this angle. I don't think people are inherently truthful or inherently liars. It's all circumstantial and situational. And, if you're caught up in something and you're looking to take a fall, you're probably going to lie. Why not lie on a dead guy? I mean, there's almost no harm to it.
No.
What is he going to do? Snitch on somebody who's alive? They could, I'll respect it, man. I'll respect it.
Yeah.
I don't understand the whole thing when people get upset, like, about saying stuff about dead people.
Yeah.
They're dead. They don't give a shit.
That is a huge thing. That is a huge thing.
Yeah, I don't get that. I've never understood why.
It's about respect thing, man. It's a respect thing.
I don't know, man. It just seems kind of useless. I mean, they're dead. They did what they did. They didn't do what they did. I can just let it be what it is.
And out of all these topics, that's the only one I think I disagree with the most.
Yeah.
Is that's just this. First of all, for a person who has had these snitching allegations, things like that, I don't know. It seems like a bad thing to do for your career, especially when you continue to want to be in the limelight with comedy and making more music. It's just that, it's just like, well, maybe you were snitching back in the day. I mean, because it's just a reoccurring thing for you.
Oh, I'm quite confident
that's
that
number one.
If he's telling that story, I'm quite confident that wasn't the first snitch he ever did. I mean, that's probably like he refined it to like, hey, I'm going to snitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's blame the dead guy.
And number two, I do think it's distasteful, man, to snitch on a dead family member. Like, that's just not, it's kind of like, yeah, it's what does he care because he's gone, but almost it's like, as far as his legacy, as far as his name, I don't know. I think it's distasteful. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's only distasteful. It's not. It's not fucking
not
murder.
horrible.
T.I. It's not lock him up for 100 years. I just think it's distasteful.
But I
That's
mean,
it.
again, I mean, who knows the exact circumstance? I mean, if it's you're looking at it like, okay, if this falls on me, I'm looking at 10 years.
Yeah.
Or
I can put it
I have
on.
this other option.
Yeah.
For all my kids, I feel free to throw me under the bus later in life. If I'm dead, if I've passed away,
Yeah.
And somehow blaming something on me is gonna save you and get out of trouble, I'm saying it now. Do what you need to do. I'm okay with it. I'm serious.
Yeah. So that's starter bench with Coach Pink. The last topic I actually wanted to bring in to sort of just a bigger topic here, which is Summer Walker, a R&B hip hop star. Alrighty, I haven't heard anything incredibly recent, but I'm sure she has stuff out, and I'm sure she probably has stuff coming out, which is why this is trending now. So she put out on, I'm pretty sure this was Instagram. She puts out a message. Hey, I need a male assistant. $2,000 a month is what I'm willing to pay them. Age 25 and older. You have to be in Atlanta. You have to have a car. Have to know how to build stuff. It's a lot
build stuff.
A lot of stuff for $2,000 a month.
I feel like you need to elaborate
And,
on what we have to build.
Preferably a white or gay man.
Wow.
Just saying.
Wow.
And doesn't give a fuck about who I am or my music. Just needs you to come work. And so there were people like took huge offense to this. They're messaging her. They're making the big stories out of this.
What are they offended by exactly?
That she's not willing to give this job to a black man, to a man of color, and she's saying
at $2,000 a month, that's not far from slavery.
But she clarified it as saying, I just need somebody to come by for like an hour or two. She says she thinks that's like fucking hitting the lottery because I just need them to come out, take the trash out one day. Next day, I may need them to bring in groceries to the house, and then
so it's like more of like a daily task type of job. It's not like a full time.
No.
I need to be available, 10 to 12 hours a day at your beck and call type situation.
No.
Okay, then the money makes more sense. I was like, if you're hiring like essentially a personal assistant for that, you can't live on $24K a month.
No.
Or $24K a year.
Yeah. And right, so that's what she's saying here, and her reasonings was, she said black men be on bullshit. They're gonna I don't want anybody to come in here trying to talk to me like holler at me type of thing. I know that's what they're gonna do. At least I know if they're white or gay, they won't be interested in me.
Well, as a white man, I'm going to raise an objection there. We're not going quietly into the night. I mean, maybe a certified homosexual wouldn't be interested. But speaking for at least this white man.
Right.
There might be a shot to shoot.
Do you take issue with her, I go back and forth with this, man. I really do because it's her fucking money. She can hire whoever the fuck she wants. Jobs and companies do this all the time. So I mean, it's just it's just a little job. They say that she has black people on her staff or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, the reality, like what you're saying, if she doesn't make this essentially like a public post, like nobody's going to be any the wiser.
Yeah.
She might interview 4 or 5 people for this role, and she's going to go with the white gay guy just because for maybe the exact same reason she said. I don't need some dude like trying to flirt with me when he's bringing my trash out or whatever. I don't need to be bothered.
Yeah.
And I get that. Like, I mean, that's fine if that's what you want, And I mean, a lot of women have like the gay friend, and like they feel like they can kind of connect with the gay friend in a different way they can with a guy who might want to bang them.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's reasons for that. It just becomes awkward when you put it out there. And even like as you're reading it, you're kind of like, well, my first thing is that's not a lot of money if it's like this is some sort of like, be on call job. And then I'm like, well, what is her reasoning for the white guy or the gay guy or whatever? It's like, what exactly are we doing here? So, I mean, it's one of those things that like in actual practice, if you just do it, nobody knows.
Yeah.
But if you put it out there, now you've created a situation for yourself where you kind of have to explain what you meant, why, what's your reasoning.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you're a black man, you would. Her reasoning doesn't help.
No.
Yeah, it just makes you sound like kind of, that's all you're interested in. You're incapable of working a job without wanting to fuck your boss.
You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of stuff that comes with that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what I struggle with that because I once.
But as a white man, I was offended as well.
I once lived in Atlanta. I had a car. I could have used $2,000 on the side, for an hour a day type of job.
Yeah.
It didn't just automatically,
get ruled out.
Yeah. I don't know. That's tough.
That's too funny, man.
I think she owes every black man and every white man who would smash her
a blowjob.
There you go.
There we go.
We're solving issues here.
We have. We've made peace.
We've made peace. That's what we've done. Another team who is making peace. I'll tell you what. I'll get right back to the Lakers here. I wanted to give a quick shout out, man, to the Bokey bump. Shout out to our guy here, Jay Crit. He won Player of the Week 1 week. He may have done it multiple times. Jay Crit is a hell of a hooper. Bokey Bump is a really good league. Is in Sanford. If you're a guy that is in or a woman, I don't know. I haven't seen any, but hey, if you're a hooper out here and you're in the Seminole County area or even Orange County area and you want to travel a little bit, over in Sanford at the Boys and Girls Club, you have the Bokey Bump, which is a really good league to be in right here. So look them up, Bokey Bump. You can look them up on Instagram and check out everything that they have going on. They are entering into the playoffs this week, but check them out, man. Bokey Bump.
Shout out to B. Holmes.
That's right, man.
Playoffs this week, right?
Yeah, playoffs this week.
Do you guys get a bye or you're?
No bye.
You're in the play-in game.
We're in, man. We're in. Actually going against Cliff's team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're facing off against Cliff.
Well, play Cliff to shoot, not pass.
We're going to be talking about the LA Lakers. All right. I was just looking them up right here. They just took a loss to the Raptors.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
LeBron or AD did not play. And the newest news out of the LA Lakers is they won't be moving their first rounders, the future first rounders, unless they get an all-star level player. Now, this is important because you have a resurgence in Anthony Davis, all right, while he's on the court, but now he's missed the last 2 games for an illness.
As he does.
But I guess, I don't know, is it a difference because it's an illness, not an injury?
At the end of the day, you're either playing or you're not playing, and he's not playing.
And that's more time than not.
More time, yeah. I mean, it's not like he's had the same injury over and over again. It's just always something with that guy.
Which in a lot of ways could be looked at as worse.
For sure.
Something different.
Not an AD fan here.
Right. And I take Will's sentiments from last season, but I like right now, man, like his stock is as high as it's going to get. This is a guy who over the last month is averaging 35, 12, and 3 blocks.
Oh, you're talking about trading AD.
Trade
okay.
AD right.
I would, yeah.
Now.
Yeah. I mean.
Hopefully you're holding him out and he's not sick. You know what I mean?
Almost by definition, because I thought it was a bad move to get him. And I know they got the bubble title, but I think if you look at the 3 or 4 years he's been a Laker, he's missed more time than he's played. And, other than the 1 title year, they've been a bad team. He does not guarantee you a certain level of competitive success. And so if you could sell him at this peak and find some suitor for him, 100% I would do it. And all day, every day.
Yes, you can. The thing is, you can't get caught up in fool's gold, man. That's all it is. And whatever the fuck example is, whatever the scenario is, if Anthony Davis, plays 85% of the way, for the rest of the games, and he's playing at this level, you still don't have a team constructed that's going to
win a title.
That's going to win a title.
Right.
The what you want as an organization is, if I'm going to trade someone, I need to trade someone at or above what their actual value is.
If you can, yeah.
If you can. And, last year and the year before, whatever the case may be, you just couldn't because he stayed hurt so much. And not only that, when he was in the games, he wasn't performing at that level.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest.
Right.
Last year, this time, they played Milwaukee, and Greek Freak destroyed them.
Yeah.
This year around this time, maybe it's because Anthony Davis is feeling better. He had enough rest. He outplayed Greek Freak, and he's been outplaying a lot of the bigs this year when they've been playing. Now is the time. You cannot trade LeBron. If you could, I would say trade him too. You kind of need to reset, because when you look at the Lakers, they do not have enough. And if you're going to trade Russ, you're going to have to attach one of those first or second rounders. But even Russ is playing better now that he's coming off the bench.
Yeah. They found a little bit of traction as a team, but like you said, even with AD playing at this insane level, you still don't regard them as a title contender.
No.
And if that's the case, you're better with a reboot.
Yes.
And you're not. Again, Davis is going to inevitably have another injury. He's getting older. Like, what more can you do with him other than move him? I agree. I'm completely with you on that.
Now, and then I guess, what they see is, okay, let's make it through this year, and then they're going to have like a boatload of salary cap space. The problem is just their luck. The incoming, the free agents this year, it's just not going to be a great crop. The best player in that crop is going to be Kyrie.
Yeah.
Could you get Kyrie? Probably so.
Yeah.
But what the fuck is that going to do for you?
Right.
I mean, what is that?
Nice.
You're just moving to the next year with more problems. Have you seen Kyrie this year?
Yeah.
He's playing, but he's not playing good.
Yeah. No, he's not doing anything.
I mean, Kevin Durant is the absolute only reason why they're in games this year. I mean, he's playing out of his mind, but there's no one else on the team that's playing at a star level.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I don't like that route. That is the route. I can see them taking that route. They're saying, okay, we're going to get rid of, Russ falls off of our salary cap this off season. We're going to have a boatload of cash. We can bring in another supermax player. Here goes Kyrie. We've been trying to get him the last 2 years. They're going to make that move. And then we can already see, man, we love LeBron. LeBron is one of the greatest players to ever play, but we can see the decline.
Yeah.
There is the decline.
No,
then you're going to roll the ball into way next year, and what are you going to hope for?
But I think, and I can't remember the mechanics of the trade, but, when they if you go back to when post-Shaq and Kobe's with the Lakers, and then they made the moves to get Gasol.
Powell, yeah.
And they also were able to draft Andrew Bynum, who was helpful in those time periods.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the route they need to go. If they could parlay, Anthony Davis for somebody who's not,
doesn't have to be a
for
superstar,
like,
no.
but is a valuable piece that they can kind of play and build around, or maybe two pieces, like two guys.
2 pieces,
That's
and then get some draft capital back because you don't have any.
Because you don't have any.
Yeah.
And you look at, hey, we can kind of reboot the franchise a little bit. That's what they need because they're just toiling right now.
Yeah.
There's no contention. They're not bad enough to get picks, and it just feels like a dead end. I mean, even when they have cap room next year, who's going to be really excited to play with aging LeBron and unreliable AD? What's the appeal there?
Yeah, that's what I say. You might get Kyrie over there, but I mean, what is that going to do for you?
And he's a mess mentally. I mean, he has been for a while. But yeah, what you'll probably get is sort of a pseudo star of their generation who is oh, maybe we can make this work. You're not going to get a younger player who wants to grow in his role and whatever, to play with those guys.
Exactly. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that great stuff here, man. That is the last actual topic that I have for us today, man.
Okay.
But just wanted to riff a little bit on some NBA here while we have it. All right. So you got some teams, man. Some surprise teams. For example, you got Sacramento and the 4th seed over in the West.
Wow, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, and they've been playing well. It's one of those things, man. Do you buy it or not? I can tell you who's been playing very well. Because the Sabonis trade last year with the Sabonis and Halliburton, and we all said, okay, Sacramento really lost this trade because Halliburton was the better player and better fit. But Sabonis comes, and he's able to fit right next to Fox as this 1-2 punch guard, big forward, center. And Fox has been playing really well. He's averaging, right now I can look at it, he's averaging 23, 6, shooting 38% from 3. That's really solid.
Yeah.
And 5 rebounds. I don't want to forget about that.
Sabonis, I think, is a generally underrated player.
Yeah.
He's not a star, but he'll always rebound. He'll always get buckets. He's a smart player. And again, he's largely healthy. He shows up and competes night in and night out. He's a nice piece. I mean, he's bounced around the league more than I think a player of his qualities should.
So I can tell you this. He's played in every single game this year. And he's averaging 17, 11, and 7.
7 assists?
Yes.
Wow. That's high.
Yeah.
Wow, maybe get the passing gene from his dad.
Yeah,
but I mean that's like legit. But that shocks me. I mean, four, I would have been not bad an eye, but sevens. I mean, you're doing it consistently every night. You're probably touching 10 assists every once in a while.
Every once in a while,
to average 7.
Yeah, hey, tonight, 17 rebounds, 10 assists.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean I like him a lot.
I think he's unlocking that team. You have I think you have a perfect 6-man. You got Malik Monk coming off the bench. He's in his right role. He played really well for the Lakers last year. I don't even remember. Malik Monk was winning games for the Lakers last year. They just had a lot of injuries around him, around that team anyway. But I mean, he's putting up 15 points a game. I mean,
as a bench guy.
As a bench guy.
Is Keegan Murray doing well?
Let's see. He's now starting, and Keegan is averaging 11.
Okay.
And 4 rebounds. That's solid for a rookie starter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I like that team. I watched the Denver Nuggets and Dallas game. I try to catch every Luka in a primetime spot.
Okay.
And just once again, I mean, just look at the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They actually had a huge article today about Luka in those clutch moments and just how he's the plays that he's making consecutively, offense and defense, right? In those clutch moments, and it's just huge. Jokic is a very interesting player, man, from the standpoint of he's such a savant, of course, in passing the ball. It's really at a point guard level.
Yeah.
But when you get in that moment the Denver Nuggets, they have to go through Jokic, which in theory is fine because he's going to make the right pass.
Right.
But when they turn him into be a scorer, like you need a bucket in these last couple of minutes in these games.
Right.
I don't know if he's the guy that can get it. Matter of fact, no big man. I just don't think big man this game is not suited for the go-to a big man for a bucket in the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes of a game.
Right. I mean, because there is something about being being able to do more stuff off the bounce and kind of attack from anywhere. And when your primary ball handler guys, they get to do that, but he's typically functioning out of the elbows and other areas on the floor, which is not I mean it's you could certainly make plays there, but there's a certain lack of control of the game that you have when you have to operate in specific spaces versus Luka, who could kind of go wherever he chooses and be comfortable making a play.
Right. And that's what happened. I mean, the shot that won the game was Luka's assist. They doubled Luka. It was a pick and pop, and they doubled Luka sort of like in the high 3-point area, almost damn near half court.
Yeah.
And Luka just made an on-key target pass right to Finley, and he hit the 3 to go up there late in that game. It was just great, man.
Yeah.
Boston is continuing to tread. When you look at MVP, you have to throw Tatum in, but you don't hear his name. But Tatum has to be in there just because he's the best player on the best team, and he's playing well. I mean, it's not like he's, But then, of course, you have Luka, you have Ja.
Tatum suffers from this. Like, everything you just said was true, but then if you're saying, hey, we're playing tomorrow, do you want him or Luka? Do you want him or Giannis? And he's always going to kind of fall slightly short of those guys. Unless you're like a Celtics homer, you're not going to take Tatum in those if those are your options.
No.
And that's why it's hard to get over the hump and say, well, this is our MVP.
Yeah. No, it is, man. It is. And, I didn't know. Milwaukee is only 1 game back in the loss column from Boston. Not Darius Garland, I'm sorry, but his running mate, man. Donovan Mitchell.
Huge game the other day.
Yeah, he's
40+ against the Lakers.
Yeah, and he's averaging 29, basically 30 for the season. 42 from 3. He's having a big year.
He is. I was never been a huge fan, but I mean, you have to respect the performance.
Yeah, he's in a good. He's just in a good spot. We've talked about it before the year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a solid team. He has those bigs down there, that to where his defensive woes or lack of it doesn't scream out anymore. Yeah,
and I think playing with another talented guard in Garland
that could take
kind
pressure
of
off him at
frees
times.
him up to do different things.
And don't forget, they're a 3-guard lineup. I mean, off the bench you have LeVert. So even when you have to spell one of those two guys, or one of those guys is missing a game for this and that reason, you even got LeVert, who is a competent. You feel comfortable with him handling the ball and making decisions.
Yeah. No, I mean, it really Again, Mitchell's a guy you don't put him in the upper tier of superstars. And arguably he may not be a superstar, but it is a testament to if you build a balanced roster and team, maybe that could be a better way to go. I don't know.
Do you put him in the same tier as Tatum, or is Tatum in the tier above?
For me, Tatum's above.
Tatum's in the tier above.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
Just give me an example of who would you have in a tier 1 and a tier 2
for superstars.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
players,
to me, like
a top tier.
The top guys is like Luka, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Ja, Steph, KD. I would probably put there, and I think that around KD is where you start to get maybe Tatum. Then, gosh, who am I missing right now?
I don't think you're missing anybody. Not for that. Not for a guaranteed that T1 spot.
Yeah.
I think you have it there.
Yeah. I mean that's more or less what we're looking at.
And I'm actually pretty impressed.
Yeah.
You didn't have to look at anything.
No, I didn't have to.
And then so what? I mean, tier 2, we're talking. I know we know Tatum is a fringe guy from tier 1 to tier 2.
Yeah. I mean, and then okay, where do we drop LeBron?
Yeah,
is he in there?
Yeah, I would think so.
Anthony
Davis
because
of
when
the
healthy.
Yeah.
Man, maybe you start looking at a Devin Booker. And see where he's at.
Booker's
the other
good for
guy.
one of those games,
He's. I don't. I mean, again, what Shai Gilgeous.
Man,
he's worked his way.
He's working his way. I think he's firmly in that tier 2 now.
Yeah,
I think he could be right there.
I mean,
tier
pure
2. And he's coming for.
And
he's coming for
he's
coming for guys like Ja and those guys like
yeah.
We'll
see if he can get there. I'm
we'll see if
not
he can
sold
get
on
there.
that, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see if
and
he
then
can get there.
then it starts to become a little bit of of a little bit sketchy, where do you rate Anthony Edwards? Where do you rate Karl Anthony Towns?
Jaylen
Brown,
Jimmy Butler. What do you do? What do you do with Jimmy Butler?
Yeah,
because regular season he almost just basically takes it off.
Yeah,
like he'll play in the big games. Like there'll be 10 big games in a year in a season where you'll be like, oh that's fucking.
He's
Jimmy
gonna
Butler.
yeah exactly.
But
then you got your your talented guys who don't accomplish much, like Trey Young and Bradley.
Yeah, what do you do with
those
guys?
They're got to be lower than that.
Damn. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing. The maybe not.
I mean, Tyrese Halliburton is the guy.
He might be coming into that. Right now, I still keep him in tier 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, he ascended to tier 3.
Pascal Siakam.
Yeah.
He needs some consideration.
Yeah, he's in the low tier 3 for me.
Yeah.
If that. But he's a hell of a talent as well. That Toronto team, I don't know. I wouldn't want to be in their position. Don't get me wrong, the GM has done a hell of a job putting together a competitive team.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know you can't really do anything to improve that team. Outside of moving Siakam. Because they're never going to be bad enough to fucking get a high draft pick. Just never.
I mean, it really comes down. I mean,
they already paid the little short midget point guard. They paid him.
I mean, how good can Scotty Barnes get?
That's what it's going to come down to.
I think.
And I think he's going to be a good 3D player.
Yeah.
I don't see a Kawhi in this future.
I mean, that's the only thing that is kind of
that's the only variable.
Like a variable.
Yeah,
variable.
Yeah. That's the only variable. And this year let me see what Scotty's doing this year. I don't want to just talk without knowing, but I don't think he's having that transcended second year. Yeah, he's averaging 14, 7, and 5 basically.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he is one of those guys. Like his value is not purely defined in the box score. No. But he'd certainly, for them to be an elite, he'd have to bump all those numbers up a notch.
Right. Because like I said, he is a 3D guy. So that's not you can't look. Defense is not on the stat sheet. I mean, of course you have the counting stats, but Orlando Magic, right?
Yeah.
So I'm at the game. You know what's funny is I'm listening to and not only that, I'm in a couple of Magic forums on Facebook.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You thought that was the best value?
And what's funny is, you know, they come into this season and every season, Orlando Magic fans with some level of confidence and intrigue, and then you have this rookie. Paolo starts off. He has a hot first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then you start losing. And Paolo gets banged up in between that time as well. And then they're saying, okay, let's tank again. Right? We're tanking again, and that's fine that we're losing because you got these guys that are coming into this draft.
Transcendent talents. Wait.
Two things on that. First is, at some point, the tanking just has to. It can't be just tanking.
Right.
Because number one, the worst records don't even get the number one pick automatically. You have to go into this fucking thing or the ping pong balls. So who knows if that's what you're going to get?
But my other point of this is that like they're still comprised of like young players who presumably, you know, 2 high lottery picks in Suggs and Paulo. I mean, do you really want them to just know nothing but losing? That takes a toll.
After year.
Yeah, there's a danger in tanking with those. Now, if you go back to Philadelphia, you know, Embiid and then Ben after, like they literally sat the rookie year with injury. Like, so they weren't out there absorbing losses.
Right.
You know, but the Magic, you know, they're out there absorbing losses.
And the second thing is, I hear him say, well, you know, we love the guy, the Wembanyama, but Scoot is the guy going to fit better with this team. So if we get them one pick, maybe, I don't know, you know, they're saying we really want to draft and just start Scoot, but maybe if we have to get Wembanyama, we'll trade him. And a guy actually literally told me that, and I told him the same thing I've said on this show maybe 5 times about my favorite NBA story. You know, the Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan. The guy said, man, we need a center. I have to pass on Jordan because we need a center. And the white guy said, man, are you crazy? You drive Jordan and you play him at center.
Exactly.
So I don't care how many 6'11", 7-foot guys you got on the roster. You have to take Wembanyama and fucking, I don't know, I was going to start to say shoot the rest of them. But you do what you need to do. Move, get rid of them, move them. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, who knows when Isaac is, if he's ever going to play. I don't know.
Right.
You know, and these other guys. But, I think Scoot or Wembanyama would be do well on his team. But you kind of even got to look past that because you may not get a top 2 pick.
Yeah.
And you have to figure out how to get out of this situation or tanking or bad season. You have to look for a lane out. You have to look for the next window, man. And you need some veteran leaderships that can still play.
Yeah. You need, I mean, like, again, they've been tanking forever.
Yes.
You need to start winning, to start laying down the blocks of winning games.
Start
what
spending
does that
some
take?
damn money.
Yeah.
And again, they're just hoarding money over there.
The lack of investment in players and the lack of success. There's zero attraction to this place to play. Who wants to come play with this roster? You're kind of just an unsettled group of hodgepodge young guys and Terrence Ross. Like, that's not a good NBA roster
at all.
And it's you're not even showing that you're kind of got anything.
Right.
You know.
And you have to, and you got to lose the attachment. And you have to get rid of some of these guys because some of these guys, they're missing 30 to 40 games every year. You can't go into the season you know, if healthy and then we'll wait till next year when this guy is healthy. Well, these guys are hurt every single fucking year. The coach came out and said, man, I've never seen anything like this in my, you know, I think he said 20-year plus coaching career total. I just never seen anything like this. These guys are just hurt every week. I've never had a full roster or near a full roster.
Right.
And it's just true. You have to, you know, good luck on your next team.
Well, it's kind of like what we're talking about with the Chargers, though. I mean, is there something going on, like with the way they're training the players, treating the players, recovery? Is there something flawed in that?
Yeah.
That's contributing to what seems to be a ridiculously high rate of injury.
And these guys are so young.
Yeah, they shouldn't be having that. You know, I don't know though. And maybe, and again, maybe that's like in a way the lack of the veteran thing, and you don't have guys that are on the roster that are like kind of showing the young guys how to
treat your
take
body.
care of the body and things like that. I mean, there's a lot of content and stories about that. Like that is a real kind of respected asset.
Yeah.
Guys, I mean, veteran guys will talk about the importance of taking care of their body and this and that. It's like a real thing. It has to be done. It's not optional to be successful as a pro. The physicality, the demand of the game is too great if you don't do the recovery and do the body care stuff that you need to.
Exactly.
And to have, like you said, a team of young guys dropping like flies on the injury list, it's just unacceptable.
Yeah. And I thought that would be the last thing, but I just got an interesting text from my friend here, Lorenzo Lowe. He said he's done watching college football, this damn NIL deal, and players skipping out on bowl games. I guess if the coaches can do it, it's like what the hell the players can do it too. It's interesting because
I thought we'd actually talk about this a lot more on the show. To me, the college football, like with the transfer portal, early signing day, and because of those two pieces, the need for coaching hires and fires to happen right now, the bowl structure outside of the playoff, it's not sustainable because there's no motivation to play. They're truly meaningless games. It's now become okay for you to opt out of the bowl if you have an NFL future. You have a lot of schools that make bowl games whose coaches are leaving to go coach somewhere else, and they've got to go right away because they've got to deal with the early signing day. They've got to do with the portal. The other thing is the portal. I think FSU's up to 5 or 6 guys in the portal. I think the Gators look like closer to 8 or 10 in the portal. Now, I know you got 85 guys, but like those guys aren't going to participate in a bowl game. Like now your roster is coming down and down and down. You get a couple like AR's going to go to the draft. He's not going to play the bowl, I don't think.
No, he's already said no.
And then you got, you get 10, maybe 11, 12 guys in the portal. Like your roster gets super lean.
And this happens.
What are you doing in that situation?
And it happens every single year.
Yeah,
we get these type of situations. Is the bowl season starting to become like the NFL Pro Bowl?
It is.
I mean, because they're not. These guys are not playing. I mean, and the guys that are playing, these are second, third, fourth stringers. You have to put together a hodgepodge of a team to go out and perform in this bowl game. Yeah. And it's supposed to be like your playoff.
Keep it with the Gators because like AR's not playing.
No.
Kitna is not with the team because of his.
And we were running a 2 quarterback all year. So I don't even know who the third quarterback is.
So you're down to third quarterback.
Yeah.
And again, I don't even know how many you got on the roster or whatever, but if that guy gets hurt, like, are you sitting there going, well, hey, JT played quarterback in high school. He's been a receiver for his last 3 years with the Gators.
What did he do?
Can you take a few snaps?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to become just like a logistical nightmare, not worth the trouble to kind of just keep this hodgepodge roster together through the bowl game while you're trying to recruit, while you're trying to manage the portal and everything else. I don't see it as sustainable. I think you're going to have the 12-team playoff, and that's going to be our bowl season. And if you're not in that, you're just going to accept your fate and focus on recruiting, rebuilding the team.
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's a real. Like Dan Mullen said it a couple years ago. Like our real team, like they lost the bowl game I think to Oklahoma, and his kind of it was kind of. People kind of didn't like it, but he's like, hey, our real team played our last game on November 30th or whatever the hell it was. But there's truth to that. Your team. Yeah, and Norvell said it a few times. He loves his team. He's like, I want to have a chance to coach these guys one more week or one more game. But you're not coaching those guys.
Yeah,
you're coaching those guys less 3 guys that are preparing for the draft, less 8 guys in the portal, and whatever. You're just coaching a shadow of what your team was.
Exactly.
And again, as fans, that we're going to catch up to. It's going to be like, why do I want to watch this bowl game if
I know
all the dudes are out?
I couldn't tell you a last Florida bowl game I watched. It would have had to been when I don't know, the T-Boy area when we were making national championship runs. I don't have any interest to watch us in a bowl game. And I'm a diehard Gator fan. When when we're playing second, third, and fourth stringers.
Yeah.
And those guys really, when you look at the games, those guys don't even look like they want to play.
Yeah.
It's just bad football.
Yeah.
Unless it's a sort of there are a couple of bowl games outside of, the national championship and a couple of New Year's. There are a couple of bowl games that have hype and people want to play in.
Well, but the problem is you're like the way things are now. You're looking, you're like we're playing Oklahoma, and again, like it's going to connect. Like, okay, I mean that seems like a pretty prestigious, decent matchup.
Florida State, Oklahoma,
names, but who's going to be playing? Like, again, like we may have like 90% of our roster. They might have 70, and now it's not the same game that you thought you were going to see. And that's what you're going to get, even in the bowls where on the face value it seems to have an intriguing matchup. Two teams that we're familiar with and think have some good players. But if one is hit way more significantly by guys sitting out or transferring, then the matchup there kind of goes to crap.
Now, who should be playing? Like I can't fathom why why AR wouldn't play in a bowl game to improve his stock. I mean, like, I don't know. Is that showing? What's the word I'm looking for? Is that like a bad sign that he's not willing to play in this bowl game? I mean, the NFL won't take it as such, but
no. Well, and I think that's the end of the day. Like we're already in an era. Like there's already a precedent for it, and I don't know if it was the first time, but I remember the year when you had like Fournette, McCaffrey, and a couple of those high-profile running backs. Dalvin Cook was there. The irony is, Fournette and McCaffrey sat out their bowls, and I feel like they were one of the earlier, most prominent people to do that. Cook played, and I think McCaffrey and Fournette both went in the top 10, and Cook dropped to like the second round.
Yeah,
it was like we didn't improve shit. Like I mean, I showed the character. I played for my team, had a good game against Michigan. We won. Didn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
The evaluation process is the evaluation process.
It's the evaluation
I don't
process.
think anything, like, again, for AR, whether you like his decision to go to the NFL or not, one other game is not going to impact that.
And you know what I forgot to mention when we talked about this off air is he's going to destroy a combine.
Probably.
He's going to be a combine warrior. No, not probably. I know. Yeah. Like, he's going to test very fucking well. He can throw the ball far. He can run fast. He's going to look like a fucking specimen in shorts and a tight shirt. And that's and then that's probably going to prepare me for farther. I didn't even think about that till earlier today. I was literally just thinking about tape and the games that he's played and them transcending that to him being a first-round quarterback. But then I thought, oh, fuck, combine. He's gonna destroy it.
Well, but I mean, and that's the expectation, and I think he'll do very well in the combine. But I honestly think the one thing is that his draft value is predicated almost more on combine than play.
Mm-hmm.
Like you feel this is just a physical freak. So the bar for him at the combine,
oh, it's going to be higher.
It's going to be high.
Yeah.
Like
like he can't come in and run a 4.7. Like
right.
we're expecting you to run
those
like a
types of
4.4,
things.
4.5.
Yeah. Or if he goes there and somebody else seems to have a stronger arm, it'll be like, oh wait, we were expecting you to do this, and we only got 3 of those.
Yeah.
There's it is what it is. You got to go perform.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But like again, his consistent performance over the season wasn't quite there at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing of reason why he's a first-round discussion is the physical tools.
Yeah.
And, so the bar is going to be high at the combine.
It's going to be high.
For that. Like, what's the dude? Can the dude from Ohio State come out?
What's his, JT?
Stroud?
Oh, Stroud is his name.
Is he drafted, or does he have to be there another year?
That's a good point.
I guess my thing on this is, like, you could probably have those two guys, and like literally, AR would have to beat him in every contest, and then people would still be, we might like Stroud a little bit more,
right? Just
because whatever his productivity at Ohio State and this, that, and the other thing, and he's throwing to fucking NFL guys, like seriously.
Yeah, they're expecting him to be like the top 1 or 2 quarterback being taken.
So he's
in the
expected
draft.
to go. Okay,
yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was like had to do another year in school, but yeah. So yeah, I mean that's one thing. The USC guy has to.
Yeah, he has to.
So he's not being a mix for that. But
No.
For Richardson, it's it's going to be high expectations to just wow people from the physical side.
Yeah.
But-
So Bryce Young is leaving too.
Is he?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
See, he's a guy he's not a big guy.
No, he's not.
I mean,
And with him getting hurt a couple weeks back, I know he's not going to play in no bowl game.
Yeah.
Half 70% of Alabama's roster's not going to play in a bowl game. They're going to be pissed.
A lot of guys hit the portal too.
Yeah,
a lot
they
of
did.
guys.
They
A
did.
lot of guys, man. It was interesting to see. But and then just going back to the portal though in general is like, it's funny because like again, I know the Florida State team quite well. I don't know a lot of the other teams, so you'll see, names drop into the portal. You see a bunch of guys drop into the portal. Like I'm not sure like whether these are good or bad losses for some of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's one guy out of South Carolina. His name's Bell. He's kind of like a hybrid tight end running back, kind of a unique skilled player. I liked him a lot. He had a big game against Tennessee when South Carolina whooped Tennessee, and he's in the portal. And I was like, that's a real dude. Like, I mean, that's a big loss for them. None of the guys that from our school that are in the portal yet are guys that you're like, oh man, that really sucks to lose. They're all guys that were relatively marginal contributors who are simply going to the portal to find a better opportunity. The same could be said. I mean, I seem to notice a lot of Alabama guys, but again, it could be all dudes that weren't playing a lot and whatever. So it's not hurting Alabama. It's opening up roster spots for them to go get better guys out of the portal than what they're losing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's like, if you look at the portal, you're either like, you're either in an advantage situation where you're losing dead weight on your roster and hoping to upgrade it, or you're in a bad situation where like, some good weight on your roster is leaving and you're scrambling to kind of fill some of these spots.
Yeah, I think with Alabama, there's either the rain is over or there's going to be hell to pay. That's one of the two.
One of the two.
That's one of the two, man.
Yeah,
it's one of the two because Saban's not going out like that, and if he is, he's going to be going out. So that's one of the things. But
does he reach a point, and he's up there in age? I mean, does he reach a point where he just feels, yeah, I better get out before this goes bad?
Real south.
He's got to have good timing there, and I don't know. I haven't paid too much attention to like the recruiting side. I assume they have a good class, but I mean, if there's one of those deals where maybe the class isn't as strong as you are accustomed to, it might be the beginning of the end.
Yeah, and I wasn't too impressed with that backup quarterback.
No,
when he went out,
struggled to throw.
Yeah, he was a strong runner, but I mean, I didn't particularly like him when he had to throw the ball.
Yeah, he did.
But he'll have an entire off season to get better with that, and we'll see, because he was a highly regarded quarterback coming out.
Yeah.
Of high school.
And the other silver lining of the bowl thing, again, when you take the portal guys out, you take your draftable guys out, and I think this is almost like a pure coaching thing. You can reframe the bowl season as like spring football 1, and just look at it and say, we're gonna have 10 or 12 practices, and we're gonna play a game. And we're going to do it. We're not necessarily the team that we finished with 3 weeks ago. Some guys are gone or whatever. But I'm going to get reps to these guys who are whatever second, third string, fill-in guys. They're going to go hard in practice for 10, 12 practices. They're going to have a chance to play on a live stage.
Right.
And that's, I forget whether we win or lose this. I'm building my program to go, to be better next year. It's almost like pre-spring ball. And then, then we're going to go to the spring. And if you look at it from a pure player development standpoint, rather than like the final step of the 2022 football team, that's a different way to reframe it and find something positive to get done. But I don't like it. I don't think it's sustainable to be in this much turmoil.
No, not at all. Not at all. Well, you guys have been on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink. Don't forget, we're available on all podcast streaming platforms. And that is our show for today.
Yes, indeed.
See you next week.
Yeah, I'm fired up about the portal.